Our protagonist, Claire Langford, is a seasoned journalist for an investigative podcast specializing in conspiracy theories and urban legends. She's skeptical, brave, and doesn't scare easily. One day, a tip comes in about bizarre events surrounding Trump Tower in Manhattan. Rumors of strange shadows, bizarre sounds, and even cases of people who went missing or left the tower changed, unable to recall what happened to them. Several sources report that some individuals who spent nights inside the tower have had their memories erased or became shells of their former selves, haunted by whispers in their ears and visions that only they could see. Skeptical but intrigued, Claire sees the story as a chance to debunk yet another urban legend. She pitches the idea to her editor, and after some persuasion, they secure permission for Claire and her crew to spend a night inside Trump Tower. They make arrangements to start their stay at 11 p.m. after the building is closed to the public. The story is simple. Spend the night, interview the security staff, and document any so-called supernatural occurrences. And welcome to Scarying YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe because I get motivated to make more scary and horror stories every day. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Arrival and Setup. Claire and her team, consisting of her cameraman Jake and audio technician Lila, arrive at Trump Tower close to midnight. The lobby is grand and eerily quiet, with gold accents gleaming under dimmed lights. The staff they meet are friendly, but visibly uncomfortable as they prep for closing time. One guard, an older man named Carl, warns Claire in a whisper, "People don't come here at night. You get what you're asking for." Ignoring his ominous tone, they enter the elevator and are escorted to the 47th floor. As the doors open, they're greeted by a strange chill and an odd humming sound that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Lila jokes that it's probably just the air conditioning, but Jake, usually the lighthearted one, doesn't laugh. The 47th floor is like a world unto itself, a maze of hallways covered in lavish mirrors that reflect each other endlessly, creating the illusion of infinite corridors. Claire notes how uncomfortable the mirrors make her feel, as if someone or something might be watching from within. As they set up their cameras and recorders, they realize their tech equipment keeps malfunctioning, with batteries draining unexpectedly and microphones picking up strange, low hums even when no one's speaking. They start to feel disoriented, as if the hallways subtly shift each time they turn. Claire assumes they're just tired and nervous and pushes the team to continue. Chapter 2. First Signs. Around 1 a.m., Claire and her team conduct interviews with the staff, recording their unsettling tales of whispering voices and shadowy figures in the mirrored halls. One security guard, when asked about his personal experiences, visibly shudders and says, "It's not the shadows you should worry about. It's the reflections. Sometimes, you don't recognize the face staring back." Feeling a chill, Claire brushes it off as superstition. But as the team explores the floor, they notice subtle changes. Rooms that seem to rearrange themselves, hallways that weren't there minutes before, and reflections that linger a beat too long after they've turned away. Claire catches glimpses of something in the mirrors. A tall, dark silhouette that resembles Donald Trump, but distorted like a twisted caricature with hollow eyes and a wide, unsettling grin. Suddenly, Jake's camera freezes and he fumbles with it, looking shaken. He says he felt someone breathing on his neck, but there was no one there. When he plays back the footage, they hear a faint whisper saying, "Leave now." Chapter 3. The Ghostly Encounter. Around 3 a.m., Claire finds herself drawn to the end of a long corridor lined with mirrors on both sides. She reaches the end and enters a grand conference room that seems out of place. Dusty and dimly lit, with large, heavy drapes and portraits of former presidents on the walls. But something about the portraits feels wrong. Their eyes seem to move, all focusing on the same shadowy corner of the room. She turns toward that corner, feeling the hairs on her neck rise as she spots a figure. It's a tall, looming shadow with features she recognizes. An eerie resemblance to Trump, but hollowed and distorted, with pale, piercing eyes that bore into her. He moves toward her with unnatural, jerking movements, speaking in a low, gravelly voice that echoes through the room. You came to see what you weren't meant to, it growls. You wanted to reveal the truth? It smirks, baring sharp, almost demonic teeth. The truth is, the tower has its own ambitions. Claire stumbles back, heart pounding, but the figure only watches, unfazed by her terror. Chapter 4. The Disappearance. Desperate to escape, Claire scrambles back down the hall, only to find Jake and Lila gone. She hears faint echoes of their voices calling her name, but when she turns, there's no one there. The mirrored halls have transformed, creating endless paths that stretch on forever, each reflection subtly different, showing a twisted version of reality. In one reflection, Claire sees herself standing with the Trump-like figure behind her, his hand on her shoulder. She turns, but there's only empty space. Frightened, Claire tries calling out to Jake and Lila. She follows the echoes of their voices deeper into the maze, but each turn brings her back to the same spot. Hours seem to pass, and she can feel herself becoming disoriented, her mind slipping as she begins to doubt what's real. Finally, she finds Jake staring blankly into a mirror, his face pale and eyes glazed. She grabs his shoulder, but he doesn't respond. In the reflection, she sees his lips moving, repeating one phrase over and over. The tower sees you. Chapter 5. The Realization. Just before dawn, Claire stumbles out of Trump Tower, dazed and unable to recall most of what happened. But as she catches her reflection in a shop window, she freezes. The eyes staring back at her aren't her own. They're dark, cold, and lifeless, like the figure she encountered in the tower. Over the following weeks, Claire becomes withdrawn, plagued by visions of the tower and that twisted figure. She tries to avoid mirrors, but everywhere she goes, she sees it lurking behind her in her reflection, watching, waiting. Her mind deteriorates, and she loses her job, her friends, and her sense of self. Epilogue. Years later, a young journalist stumbles upon Claire's story. Intrigued, she decides to investigate Trump Tower, ignoring warnings and rumors. In the final shot, the camera zooms out, showing Trump Tower's reflection in a darkened window. And as the figure of the new journalist enters, the faint, shadowy silhouette of Claire's reflection, alongside the twisted figure, smirks in the glass, ready to claim yet another soul. So, guys, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And comment, let me know that how stories scare you. Thank you for watching.
Meow, meow.